So now we're recording and started, and you're all very welcome this morning. Start of a new chapter, the Advanced Diploma in Credit Management. And do you know something? I can guarantee you it is nothing like what you expect it's going to be. That's the one guarantee. So the one thing I will ask you is to bear with it and come to this with an open mind. So that is the important part. So what we're going to do this morning, and look, it'll take somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half. I'm not going to keep you for the sake of keeping you. What I want to do is I want to be sure that you're clear in terms of what the expectations are, what you're letting yourself in for, what the course is all about, how it works, and all that kind of stuff. And once you're happy and we're ready to start, then we're ready to start. So I'm not going to keep you for just because I said it'd be 90 minutes. I'm going to keep you. No, if we're done, we're done. So that's what it is. So let me just explain to you right from the very start off. I suppose within the course there are three main sections. So those of you who have been through the diploma in credit management, you're probably aware of the system. So the system is consistent here as well. So what I'll be doing is I will be sending out notes every week, and you will read the notes, go through the notes, and there is a short test on each of the set of notes that you submit the following week. All right, so that is so it's still notes, it's short tests, and there's 10 sets of notes over the duration. I go through that in a few minutes with you. So that is that. Within that, then there are two assignments. So there's three sections to the notes and the course, and there are two assignments that you have to do, and we'll go through the marks that you get for that as well. So that is the second part. So there's your notes and short tests, there's your assignments that you submit, and then the fun part. And the fun part is, and we have various names for it. It's either called the project or the assignment. So it is one major project that you have to do as part of the advanced diploma. And I suppose in a way, it's kind of like a mini dissertation that you will have to do on a credit management topic. And even though this might be daunting, sitting here on a Saturday morning going, oh my God, how can I do that? You will do it, and you will do it with our support as well. And that's why I just want to introduce you now to Paul Nolan. Paul,
morning.
I was just thinking, it must be nearly 20 years.
And the rest, Declan, I think, yes.
Well, yeah. And we won't go into this, because if they knew how old we were now, they wouldn't take
it. Quite a while, anyway.
So,
but like every, credit management, Declan, doesn't change. Technology might change. Situations might change. Companies change, but credit management, the core of it, remains the same. It always remains the same. You know that.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why I know some people are getting paranoid about AI and all that kind of stuff. AI is only a tool, and that's really it. So there's no point in getting hung up on it. And look, let's use the tools we have to do it. But in relation to the project and the dissertation, there is a set format for it. And Paul has been with us, as I said, now for many years, guiding students through just specifically the project side of the house. So Paul, you're here just for the start off. So I'll hand over to you now, and just if you give everybody the heads up in terms of what's expected, in terms of title, submissions, work, output, what they need to do, what support is available, and then I can go through the notes and the contents and the detail, and I let you off to enjoy your weekend as soon as
thank you. I have two grandchildren actually playing GAA this morning, so I have to go to two matches. One starts at 12 and one, I don't know, 11 o'clock or something like that. But they're both in the park kind of beside me here, so I don't have far to travel. But granddad's
a new chapter of life, isn't it great?
That's what gets me up on the Saturday morning. It used to be my kids, now it's my grandkids.
Yeah, well, I've heard it said that your grandchildren are your reward for not killing your children.
Yeah.
Go on, I leave it to you. Take it.
Like 10 rewards anyway. Yeah, good morning all. Thanks for joining us this morning. As Declan said, I'll guide you through and support you through the practical credit management project, or the mini dissertation, whatever you like to call it, but it's the main kind of project that you'll be doing over the course, the advanced diploma course. So I'm looking at the sheet of paper that Declan, or the kind of file that Declan sent you. There were 3 pages, I think, to it. If you have that beside you handy, or if you can have a look at it on the screen or whatever.
Yeah, I can bring it up on the screen, Paul.
And yeah, okay, maybe that's a good idea. Yeah. We just run through that, and as I say, I've lots of notes to send you. I send you samples of a project. And it might sound daunting, but believe me, and people have found it a bit daunting to start. But once you get going on it, it's like everything else, it's fine. And as I say, Declan and myself are here at all times to help and support you through it. And yeah, there we go. Okay. So I'll just read through this document, and I'll stop at the different stages of it and explain the background behind them, and any things that you need to be aware of. So if you want to scribble a few notes down handy, or if you want, feel free. But as I say, there will be notes following everything, and at different stages of the projects, I'll send you some notes, and you'll have plenty to work off. This stage of the diploma is an opportunity to put all your learning into practice, and this is an assignment-based project. You're required to demonstrate how you have applied the knowledge gained on the course to your own work situation. You will present a 6,000-word dissertation on an approved topic with the guidance and support of your tutor. The project is to be researched and presented as a bound document in line with the criteria set out below. Now, this is actually a completed project. Just to show you what it looks like. You don't have to go to any expense to get this thing bound and whatever else. Like, if you were doing a dissertation in Trinity College or something like that, you'd have to go to a specialist kind of company that binds it for you, whatever. But this is just just to show you what it looks like. It's just a simple thing that you can find in any office, stationery company or whatever. It's just bound. And this is what it looks like. Sorry, that's just a completed project. That's the finished product. You have on the front of it your title. You have your name, obviously, on it. Tutor submission date, and we'll come to that later on. And the word count. It's important. Now, 6,000 is the number we have down there. I'm more interested in quality than quantity, to be honest with you. So, if it's 5,500, that's fine. If it's 7,000, that's fine. I'm not going to be too hung up if you're falling a bit short on it, but please let me know. And please, on the front, please have the word count there. I'll also send you a soft copy of a completed project, and I'll come to that later on. Now, I showed you the sample. So what's happening now is you're moving, and Declan will explain all this to you as well, I'm sure. You're moving from an employee to a manager, and hopefully, later on, higher up the corporate ladder. And another reason for this project is you need to show how credit affects profitability. There's an acronym, FABLE, which explains the cost of credit and its impact on profitability. I'll send you, I don't know if you've covered that in your previous
No,
subject. No,
I
I can send you something on that anyway. It's a sheet of paper, but it's something that's very, very handy to have and very easy to memorize. And again, the most important thing here that we're looking to help you do is to research, to do your own independent research and reach independent conclusions on a subject that involves the credit function. And another reason for doing this again is, and hopefully you'll all involve your colleagues or your supervisor, your manager at some stage. And again, it's to raise your own profile within the company. So there's some great spin-offs and paybacks from doing this, particularly if you involve your company. And again, it may be a topic that or a problem that you're incurring at the moment in your credit department that you've been thinking about for quite a while, but never really got down to say, gosh, when I get on, I'm going to have a look at that and see what the problem there is and see how we can fix it. So, things like that have a positive spin and pay off for you as an employee. Purpose of the project. The project provides an opportunity to consolidate the knowledge and skills covered in the previous modules contained in the diploma and advanced diploma course, and to develop higher technical skills appropriate for managers in the credit profession. So basically, in a nutshell, what you do is you identify an area that needs investigation within your department. It doesn't have to be work related. It can be something outside work, whatever. But it usually works better if you pick something within your own job. But not necessarily. It doesn't have to be. You won't lose points or marks if it's not. But it has to be approved by myself. And I'll tell you again. I'll tell you why that's so. So we identify an area that needs investigation. You do your research and then you present your conclusions. That's really what it's, in a nutshell, what the whole project is about. The subject matter, on point 2 here. The subject can be one of your choosing. You must get the subject approved by your tutor in advance. So it's compulsory that you get it checked by myself. I will send you early next week some notes, the first lot of notes. And in that, there are 2 pages. And I want you to complete the 2 pages and send it back to me. So it's what your proposed topic would be. And then there are kind of some what we call trigger questions there. Why have you chosen this? What you hope that the outcomes to, list a couple of outcomes that you hope to reach or conclusions that you hope to reach. So this is to get your focus really into project mode. So when you get that, if you can send that back to me, we have the 14th of October. And I'll come back to you then shortly after that date and give you some advice on whether I think that the project is sustainable or not, whether it's appropriate or not, or whether, I think maybe you're taking on too much. So it's terribly important that you fill out that form. Have a chat with your manager if you wish, have a chat with your colleagues, have a chat with your partner, or whatever, your friends or whatever. It's always good to discuss projects, to discuss how you're coping with your project, how you're getting on, how you're progressing, if you're having problems. So it's always important to involve a group of people, and usually your colleagues, if you're doing something like this, they'd probably be interested as well. In fact, they'd probably be a little bit kind of jealous. So this is all great stuff in terms of your career advancement. This is all positive stuff. And I always say that doing this project, it's just a different way of learning. So you're not kind of writing answers or memorizing stuff or whatever, regurgitating stuff. This is all your own independent. You do this yourself. You can't cog this anywhere. You can't, well, I don't know whether you can go on AI or whatever and get someone to robot to do it for you. I've never received one, not that I know of anyway, a project that has been done by AI, but you never know. So do something that interests you. It'll sustain your interest, because this is going to be, you're going to have this going over the next 3 months. So you want something that's going to sustain your interest. You want something that has plenty of material for you to work on, and that's why it's important that you get it approved by myself first. I might say to you, well, I don't really think that there's kind of necessarily a project in that. Or I might say, well, you're taking on board too much there, really. You're kind of trying to change the world in 6,000 words. That's not going to happen. And it's only all it'll do is dilute your project. So keep it sharp, keep it focused, and identify one particular area, at maximum 2. And again, it's as I mentioned before, this is when you show your finished project to your boss or director or whatever it might be, it's kind of enhancing your role. It's drawn attention to, your skills and, your loyalty to your education and, so it's all terribly important. Number three here, do not keep this subject too broad, as I mentioned. Look at a particular problem early in your work that needs improvement, or an innovative measure or procedure that you can introduce that would save money. And these are always things that are very kind of important in the corporate world. I'll send you again, as I say, there's some trigger questions. There's also a sample of a SWOT analysis. I'm not sure if anyone done a SWOT analysis, knows what a SWOT analysis is. Again, there's a sample of a SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So if you're having a problem trying to identify an area for your project, you can use what they call the SWOT matrix, and that might, again, trigger an idea or something that will guide you towards an area that could need investigating in your work. And I'll also send you some sample titles again. I think I've about 40 listed sample titles that, again, you might see something there that kind of is common to your own work situation that you might say, okay, yeah, maybe I'll have a go with something like that. So we're all kind of trying to lead you to get you into project mode, get you focused on what you'd like to do, discuss it with your colleagues, discuss it with your boss. There might be something there that already of that you thought of that needs sorting, or maybe there's an idea there that maybe someone else and some other company have some sort of a innovative procedure or software that you could bring to your job that would help you. It's all these things are meant to kind of assist you kind of just to identify an area. The draft title, I'll send you that sheet if you can complete that sheet, and there's a couple of questions. There's 2 pages on it that just you need to complete and send back to me by the 14th of October. Involve your boss. I mentioned that for reasons your career shows your career minded. May allow you time to do research. I've known in the past some students have said to me, the boss has been very supportive about them and has let them some time off. It actually might give you access to some confidential information that you would normally be entitled to. So there's all positive spin-offs here, really, for the company and for yourself, in terms of it might lead to some, hopefully, promotion. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, going up the corporate ladder. Now, there are 1.6 there, different sections to the project. So this is the structure of the project. This is the kind of nuts and bolts of it, if you like. Your rationale, number one. What I'd like to see first is, and it's not on this, so you might take note of it. I'd like to see some background to your organization. So it's something maybe that you can get off the company website or something like that. What your company does, and just some background to the actual organization. Your role in it as well, I think it's important. It sets the kind of scene for myself when I'm doing the project. So your role within the company, what you do, if you want to put in an organizational chart, some people do, showing the finance director or the CEO all the way down. And again, as I say, it's just good background knowledge really for myself when I'm looking at the projects. And acknowledgements. And again, some people like to put in acknowledgements to acknowledge the help of, say, your boss, your colleagues. You might have interviewed someone independently. You might want to thank them. You might want to thank Declan for his guidance. I'm sure Declan is always there to support you, as indeed I am as well.
Yeah.
You might want to acknowledge your partner for minding the kids while you got on with your project or something like that, or the babysitter or whatever. But some people like to put in, it's not compulsory. Some people like to put in there. It's just, as I say, it's purely an acknowledgement for the support and help that you got from some people. And then you get into the rationale. Rationale simply is the reason for picking the topic, and outline the problem, and then outline what you hope to achieve at the end of it. There might be a couple of different outcomes that you hope to reach, and they're independently investigated and independently reached, if you like. So your rationale is your first section of the project. The second section there, investigation stage one, strategy and data collection. Really, when you're doing your investigation, this is what we spoke about, doing your research. So your research will contain primary and secondary research. So your primary research is that research which you yourself do as an individual. So you might do a survey, you might do a questionnaire, you might do an interview, or you might do all three. It's up to yourself, really. It's good to see a survey, and again, I'll send you notes on how to conduct a survey. And a lot of people actually would sometimes interview their boss or something like that, or someone in someone of influence within the organization. That would have an overview of maybe the credit function, whether. So it's and again, there are ways and strategies for doing interviews. There are some kind of do's and don'ts in terms of interviews. So you don't just kind of knock on someone's door and say, "Is it okay if I sit here for a half an hour and interview you about the credit function in the company?" So there's ways, obviously, of doing it. And the thing about surveys is, and indeed the interview, and indeed your whole research, the key thing here is that you do not introduce any biasness. It has to be totally unbiased, everything that you do. You might start off your project and say that we have a problem, I think I know what the answer is, and you might be proved completely wrong at the end of your project. When you've done your research, you've done your interviews, you might find, oh, well, no, that wasn't the answer, or maybe that was only part of the answer. You won't be deducted marks if you actually find that your thoughts and your conclusions were totally different from what they were when you started out. So your marks here are for actually the process and getting to your conclusions. It's important conclusions, obviously, and they're marked for the highest marks, I think, in the sections are for conclusions. So it's terribly important that you don't bring any biases into it, and you're completely honest and open about what your findings were at the end of the project. Yeah, you'll also have your secondary sources of research, and that includes the internet. It includes any books, any journals, magazines, or anything. And there are a couple of websites out there that you can look at. The Irish Institute, Declan, I'm not sure what the website is, or is their website there?
It's cmii.ie.
Okay. There's also the UK. I'm not. It's. I think it's CMI.
CICM.
ICM. CICM. Is it?
CICM is the UK one. Yeah. I think it's cicm.org.
Okay. They produce a journal every month. I don't know if anyone gets that. Obviously, if you remember, you get a journal. I have them here. So what I'll do is when I get your topics, I'll be able to have a look and see if there are any articles here that might be relevant to your project. So if I can find anything, I'll send them on to you. But it's another website that's worth looking at as well for information. So that's then we're down number 3 here, investigation stage 2, data handling and results. So this is where you interpret and present your results. You will obviously have your written script will be there. I like to see some graphics display. And there are many forms of graphs that we can include, but I would stick primarily to just 3, and that would be a pie chart, a bar chart, or a linear graph. keep it simple. There's other ones like scattergrams and things like that. We don't need those. They're far too complicated for what we're doing here. But it's nice to see some sort of a graphic display, and make sure that your graphic display is beside your text. That it's you not have your text on one page and 5 pages later, then you have an actual graph relating to that particular text. Make sure you keep it's part of the structure that you keep it all together. And number your graphs and put a headline on it as well. It's terribly important to do that. It's all marks for presentation, which you'll get at the end of the day. There are 10 marks for presentation. Conclusions, number 4, are conclusions and analysis. The most important part of the project is that. So you list unbiased outcomes. So they're independent and well-supported conclusions. There's no right or wrong answer. Marks will be awarded for the work that's done on reaching those conclusions. And number 5 there, section 5 is evaluation. So this is a kind of personal, if you like, summary on what you found, the project. If you found your satisfaction level on doing it. Did you come across any risk factors, any areas that need further investigation? Maybe you hadn't got enough time, or maybe on hindsight you kind of might think that, well, maybe I should have stuck to interviews rather than doing a survey because the survey responses weren't great or something like that. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's just a complete honest appraisal on how you feel the project went yourself. And it's important. Sometimes people say, well, there are areas there that need further investigation that I just haven't got time to look at. So yeah, identify those. The marking allocation, your rationale there, you have your marking allocation there. They're all pretty straightforward. As I said, most 20 points there for conclusion and analysis. The last 3 there, they're not written sections, if you like. Effort in achieving deadlines. So that's just making sure that everything is on time. There are 10 points for this. Making sure that everything, if I ask for an update, that you come back to me with your update, that you have your project in on time at the end of the day. So there are 10 easy marks there for this. If you just keep to the schedule, you'll have no problem in getting 10 marks for that. Initiative. There's 10 marks for initiative. Initiative is just kind of inventiveness, a fresh approach to a topic, if you like. If you go the extra mile, if you've managed to secure an interview with the Minister for Finance or something like that, it's just again for effort really, and initiative. If you come across something that hasn't been tried before or hasn't been listed before. Presentation. I send you notes on. There are notes there on the what's it going to project writing. Sorry, yeah, project writing. I send you. There's a 1-page thing on project writing, and it's just that the project should, as I mentioned previously, that if you have a topic and you have a graph that you keep them together, there has to be a flow to this whole thing. Your project should flow from one idea leading to the next idea, that there's a smooth, organized structure to it. And I'll send you notes on that. The language that you use is a professional work that you're submitting here. So, the language has to be correct. And again, there are kind of notes on that. Plagiarism. And again, in one sentence, I suppose, what we mean by plagiarism is presenting someone else's work as your own. That's really what it is. You can quote people once you give them credit for quoting them, and you do that, and there's a way of doing that. And if you come across a quote or a section or a book or something like that, you have to record that. There's a way of doing that, and you include that in your bibliography, which is at the very last thing in your project. It's a list of where you got your information from, and you have to credit your source. That's basically what it is. The pass mark is 50%, which you'll have no problem in achieving. the word count is 6,000, as I mentioned. I'm not hung up on 6,000. If it's slightly less, that's fine. If it's slightly over, that's fine as well. As I say, it's more about quality than quantity. The deadline is the 20th of December, so it's before the Christmas break. We don't this hanging over you over Christmas. So if you get it into me on the 20th, I'll mark them over the Christmas break myself, I suppose. Student support. You have my support, you have Declan's support. Anything we can do for you. If I ask for an update, if you can go back to me straight away on it. If you're having an issue, if you need to have a phone call conversation, that's fine. We can arrange that. So anything at all that might be troubling you or that might be kind of concerning you, we're there to support you. I might not come back to you straight away, so give me kind of maybe 48 hours. I will always come back. Not just I might be tight about something else. We mentioned plagiarism. There's strict rules on it. I'll give you the handout on that. Keep to the deadlines, okay? And as I say, it keeps momentum. If you can just put by maybe a couple of hours a week and say, you know, that's my project time. It could be 2 hours a week or whatever it might be. It keeps the momentum going on it. You don't last minute kind of panic. It'll just affect your project. You know, so give yourself plenty of time. Don't put yourself under too much pressure. Enjoy the experience. It's a great confidence builder, which instills a sense of achievement. And as you evolve your employer, you will gain greater recognition of the work that you are doing and the progress you are making. It's a great thing to have the support of your company behind you, and if they're interested in what you're doing, it certainly helps from a personal point of view. We're going to have a workshop on Saturday, the 2nd of November, where we'll just have a chat and review how everyone is doing. And we'll actually, it'll be a kind of a team effort, if you like. So we'll kind of have a chat and support each other. And if someone might have information that can help someone else on their project, so we'll go and we give everyone kind of 10 minutes to you know, tell us how they're getting on, and if they need support, and we can, as a group, support each other. That's really what that's about. So that'll be the 2nd of November, about an hour and a half max. I mentioned the handouts. Notes and the slides will be sent to you on the different stages of the project. There are 3 golden rules in relation to this project. The first one, as I mentioned briefly, it's an unbiased piece of work. That's terribly important. So when you're doing your survey, there's no leading questions. You cannot, you know, do you agree? Do you disagree? Or whatever. You can put it in, but you must put in, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5. You know, 5 that you disagree and 1 that you agree, or somewhere in between. You have to have it balanced on both sides. You cannot have, and the same if you're interviewing someone. You can't be giving them an agent. Do you agree this? Do you whatever? You have to just take it totally independent, unbiased approach to this project. Don't make it too broad, as I mentioned before. I can give you support on that. I know when you send me your sample project, and I think that's really it. Pick something that interests you. I think that's a no-brainer, really. It's got to sustain you for the next 3 months. So something that interests you, something that's important to you, to your job, to your work. Enjoy the experience. As I said, there's a great sense of achievement at the end of this. You might seem over or sound overawed or be overawed by this. There's nothing. This is very, very straightforward, very simple. Getting started is the main thing. And as I mentioned at the very start, it's a different way of learning. That's all it is. You're kind of you're tutoring yourself here, really, in this thing. So I'm finished. Is there any questions to anyone, or any comments, or any?
Yeah, my main concern is about picking the right project, in fairness. So that's a big thing in what you've come through, because like what kind of like that's my big thing. So like how wide is it like in terms of the project please? I'm not just that's the thing that's really like that's the big thing. So I'm not that's what my main
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, I'll send you this form, and this form is kind of to get you thinking about what you would like to do or what you might find might interest you. And there are kind of what we call trigger questions there, which kind of what you hope to achieve by doing it. And this is really all to make you think. I mean, you can. I'll also send you a list of projects that have been done previously. There might be something there that might interest you, that might kind of, um, you know, I don't know, something might be common to your own work situation. But most people will have something in the back of their mind nearly. No one's job is perfect. And I'd say even if it is perfect, maybe you can, or if it's quite well run or well organized, there's always room for improvement somewhere. Maybe there's something that your competitor is doing that you're not doing, that you could introduce into your section. Like things like even your credit application form, stuff like that, risk analysis. Is our risk analysis, are we having too many bad debts? Is it our, process, our kind of risk analysis process that is letting us down here? Maybe we're not getting enough information. Maybe we're not getting the right information. So when I send this out to you, have a look, have a read through it, and if you're still not sure if you have a problem, maybe we can arrange to have a phone call and discuss it further and see if if I can help you, support you. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? No, no. Okay, that's me done, Declan. I think
You succeeded in scaring the life out of them, Paul.
scared the light out of myself. I'll send on this. As I say, it's simple. This thing. I mean, I know people do feel a bit concerned, a bit overawed at the start. It's not. I guarantee you. Once you get started with this, I always remember. I done I think it was 20,000 words dissertation once for a degree, and I sat there for about 2 hours trying to get the first paragraph written. And I just said, I kind of never do this. This is just kind of, and it's just, your brain is so kind of confused or whatever, just over kind of. And eventually I got it going. And then, like that, just found I couldn't stop then. I think it was the only problem. Where do I stop? How many words have I done? So it's everyone has that kind of sense of concern, anxiety maybe at the start, but it's nothing. It's just you'll sail through this, and we have a very, very good track record, I think, Declan, in terms, and we have some excellent projects. And I even there about 2-3 weeks ago, I took out the thesis that I had done, and I read the first page, and I said, "Did I do that?" And it's just a mindset you get into, you get focused, and it'll happen. I'll make sure. I guarantee you, it won't be from lack of effort or lack of support or whatever from Declan or from myself. We'll get you through it.
Yeah, and hopefully you will identify and solve a problem along the way. I think that makes it even more interesting. So again, maybe on Monday when you get into the office or next week, just have a look around, and if there are things that are concerning you that are causing issues, and particularly if we're looking at sort of promoting our own careers, maybe let's look at what's concerning our managers, bosses, directors, and that sort of stuff. So what are they worried about that we could have a look at and address, and whatever else. So it could be anything from technology to queries to pricing to communications to, there's so much involved in credit management, and we're touching every part of the business, and just to see how can we bring that together better for a better result for all.
Yeah.
So
I think, Declan, you at one stage in one of your books, I think, mentioned there was a statistic there about we spend probably half our time correcting stuff rather than being, doing
The
positive things.
actual quote, yeah, and that's the profit secret, which I don't think I include in the course. Yeah, the 25% of the cost
That
of
was it.
doing business is redoing stuff. It's
Correcting
actually
stuff.
that high.
Yeah. Stuff that had been done in the first place correctly, it wouldn't need to be done. So that's
Exactly.
25% of your time you could be, doing something positive, producing something more effective,
Yeah.
And sometimes that's an area that people find that we've so many queries when we go looking for payment on stuff. It's under query or people looking for credit notes or something like that. And you find that the same old stuff is coming up all the time. So maybe there's a process there needs to be kind of introduced or needs to be improved or something like that, to stop all those queries, to identify the problems, the areas,
Yeah.
and get managed to support them and get them sorted. And sometimes sales, not always, but yeah, it's a common thing. Someone comes in, we were quoted a different rate, or we were told it was going to cost us, X amount, and now we're being charged too much. Stuff like that.
And in my
Communicate.
experience, the customer is always right and the sales guy is always wrong.
Yeah. It
Just in
all
case
comes
you
down to
think we're unique.
communication, proper communication at the end of the day, really. And some companies do have, proper inductions where salespeople will sit with credit people for a day or two to get, a feel for what they do and how sales can impact on the credit control. And likewise, then maybe credit control people sit with the sales people for a day or two and find out, how they do their stuff and, what's leading to issues and, why they're sending you the wrong information. It might be something else that's had to play, whatever, But yeah, it's queries is usually a topic that comes up quite often. But then again, it doesn't have to be anything at all. If you have something in mind, just fill out these 2 pages, send it back to me, and I'll come back and guide you and tell you or nay, or maybe change it where, so that's really it for me.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Great seeing you this
Welcome.
morning. We'll be in touch over the next week anyway.
Yeah.
And go and enjoy your
Football.
football.
Thanks, everybody, and it's lovely to meet you all. And we'll be in touch, and we'll enjoy the experience and we'll enjoy the journey, and we'll get you there at the end of the day. No problem. Okay.
Well done. Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Good luck. Good luck. So now, yeah, let's get that bit out of the way first. Why not? So yeah, but and hopefully that's an exciting part of the course as well. So look, the reason we have Paul along, I'm going to share the screen here. The reason we have Paul along it's just he's there to support you. He's been doing this for a number of years. He will give you guidance. In terms of myself, by all means, lean on me as well. So if there is something, and particularly like queries would have been a particular hobby horse of mine. And those of you who know me know, like I did sit in a credit manager's office for a long number of years. And, whatever problems you can have, I probably had them at some stage, and I might have created some of them myself and managed to solve a lot of them. So, please feel free to reach out and get help, because there is help there. And the other thing that, because I've been around the credit circles for so long now at this stage, I probably know most of the main players. So if you are looking for contacts in collection agencies, legal firms, technology, AI, any of those sort of areas, process automation, whatever area that floats your boat, by all means come back to me. And if I don't have all the answers, which I probably won't, I'll probably know a guy who does, and I'll be able to point you in the right direction, make the introduction for you, and let you start your investigations and that yourself. Is that okay? So that is that. So let me go through now. As I say, and Beverly, you're welcome. We saw you had some techie issues. So as I always say, technology is great when it works. So you're very welcome. You only sort of missed the introduction, so that's that. And because we're recording, you can go back. So that's it. So really, what I want to go through is the rest of the course. So the project is one side of the course. What else happens? So that's that. So I said at the introduction, three main parts. I just for everybody's benefit as well. So you'll get your weekly notes, and there'll be a short test with the notes. So you read your notes, you submit your short tests on the following Monday. That's the way it's going to roll. There'll be two assignments based on the material that you're given, and the practical assignment, which is what Paul said. There is no final exam. So you get marks for your short test, you get marks for your assignment, you get marks for your practical assignment. I have that documented later on. So they are the three components of this course. The one thing I want to make absolutely clear here as we go through, the diploma in credit management is based on credit management. It is geared towards credit controllers who want to develop a career in credit control. So the diploma has been focused on the skills and the information that you need in order to become a great credit controller. So we need to know about risk, we need to know about collections, we need to know about admin, we need to know about all the other things that we need to know about. That is contained in the diploma in credit management. So when we're starting here today, we are starting on the basis that you know credit management, and you know what needs to be done, and you know what has to be done. All right. What we are doing in the advanced diploma is we are now stepping it up a gear. And this gear is geared towards management. So if you are in a management role, I hope you will find this incredibly helpful. If you are not in a credit management role, I hope this will give you an overview of the management process. I suppose to give you the confidence to step up into a management role. Now, management isn't for everybody, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Like I have worked with credit controllers who have been credit controllers for 40 years. They know the customers, they know the business, they know the job, and they're very, very good at it. And as a manager, I love people like that. They just get on with it. They have a life outside of work, and they've no interest in climbing the corporate ladder, spending their lives playing stupid politics, and that's fine if that's what you want. So just because you don't want a management career, if you discover that, there's nothing wrong with that. If you think management is for you, and I must say, having been a credit controller and being a manager, personally, I much preferred being a manager. Well, number one, you don't have as much to do if you do it correctly, and it just gives you an overview of the function, which suited me, that I really liked. So the material that we have gathered for the advanced diploma in credit management is geared towards management. Is that okay? And in terms of I go through the component parts, and as I said at the outset, and Beverly, you missed this. What I said at the outset is that this is not anything you have expected. All right. So I'm just putting that out there right now. Whatever preconceived notions you have of what an advanced credit management course is going to be, this is not it. So that's it. And I make no apologies. I think this is probably the best thing I have ever done. What I have done is I have set out the dates for you. So these are the dates that you're going to get your notes. We are taking a midterm break. I think that's in line with Halloween and midterm breaks in schools as well. So you get your first 4 set of notes. We take a break. You get your first assignment. You get your next 3 set of notes. You get your assignment, and then you get your last 3 set of notes. So that is what it's all about. And the 10 modules, I suppose, are divided into 3 distinct sections. And because we are focusing on management, all right, And the one thing that just gets to me, and that's why I suppose I loved being a manager. And one thing that I've noticed, particularly lately going around, the standard of management is absolutely terrible. All right, so that's it. And I suppose my dream for this course is that anybody who has been through this course will emerge as either a better manager or potentially a better manager, able to manage people. Okay, so that's really what we want to do. And the three sections that we focus on. Section 1 is on you, is on yourself. Because if you cannot manage yourself, then you cannot manage anybody else. So the very first thing in management is to get in control. So the first 4 modules of the course are based on you. So you'll be reading some of this material and go, God, I didn't think I was reading a self-help book, or I didn't think this is what I was setting myself up to do. There is a certain amount of that, and I'll go through the detail of it later. What this is designed to put you in control, and if you're in control of you, that's the very first step to being a good manager. Because if you've worked for managers who are out of control and they're all over the place, they are an absolute nightmare to work for. And I think we've all come across them. And no matter how technically brilliant they are, no matter what product knowledge or systems knowledge they have, if they are not together and know what they're doing and where they're going, then the whole thing falls asunder. So the first 4 modules are going to be related to you, right? Then we move on to that into part 2, and part 2 is about managing individuals. So this is about people, about managing people, about getting the best out of people. And when I talk about management, it's probably different to a lot of other people. The buzzword at the moment is leadership and leadership and leadership this and leadership that, and we're going to send all our staff on leadership courses. And if you ever notice, of all the courses I have ever run, I have never run a course on leadership, and I never will, because my honest belief is that in any organization we should only have one leader. And really, rather than teaching people leadership, we should be teaching them followership. Because that's really what we're looking for. So in terms of leadership, and I see leadership is, it's singular. The leader is the person who provides the vision and all that kind of stuff. To me, that's what leadership is. To me, management is done on a one-to-one basis. So yes, we do talk about managing teams and team management and all the rest. Team management, credit management, every form of management starts with the individual. All right. So when we're looking at managing people, we first of all have to start with ourselves and understand ourselves and what makes us tick. Then what we have to do is we have to focus on our people, and we have to spend time on our people. And the amount of time managers spend with their staff is, in my view, criminal. All right. And I would hope that when you become managers, if you're not managers already, that the first thing that you will take into account are the people who are reporting to you, because that's what makes you a manager. And each of those people is an individual. Each of those people are different. Each of those people have different strengths, different weaknesses, different talents that we sometimes aren't even aware of. And my contention is that as a good manager, you need to be aware of everything that makes your people tick. Now, look, we have a job to do, and we have money to collect, and we have queries to solve, and we have, yes, of course, there is the functional side. There is a way to do it and a way not to do it. And hopefully what we contain in this course is the way to do it. So we look at managing individuals and how we get the best out of them. Then we look at the team and how we get the best out of the team. And then thirdly, which you might have thought was first, is it comes third. So once we have ourselves under control, our people individually happy, our team, a functioning, effective team, then we can turn our attention to the function. So we need to look at the credit function. What are the component parts? What are the things that can jump up and bite us? What do I need to know as manager? How do we set targets? How do we, set terms? So the whole, focus of the function is in managing the function. That's really what I want to do about. So we have management function. I have a little book that I'll give you to read as well, called The Mentorship, which I think is great. And then finally, then we're looking at the sort of the high risk accounts. So when we're going in to manage high risk accounts, we just have to be that bit extra vigilant and extra careful when we're in that territory, just to make sure that there's nothing there to jump up and bite us. Boundaries are one of the most important things, because we have all our battles at the borders, so all the battles happen at the boundaries. And because credit management fits into, links into probably every other department within the business, we have to learn how to manage our boundaries, what we are responsible for and what they're responsible for. Because we were talking about queries and disputes and all that kind of stuff. Most of those queries and disputes happen because of gaps in the boundaries. So you think the salespeople are responsible for that, they think you're responsible for that, and it falls down in a gap between the two. So if we can manage our boundaries effectively, where we know where our responsibilities begin and end, and we know where their responsibilities begin and end, that there's no gaps in between, that we can do that as well. And then finally, we look at the whole concept of managing management reporting. So if you're going to be a manager, then part of what you have to do is you have to paint yourselves in a positive light within the organization. Because yes, in any large organization that will have a credit manager, there are politics involved, there are perceptions involved, there are lots of other things. So and I found, as a manager, the more senior I became within the organization, the less time I spent doing the job and the most time I spent playing politics. And unfortunately, it is a factor that you have to play. Not something I particularly enjoyed, to be honest with you. I was one of these people who just, give me the money and let me get on with it, which is probably explains why I started life in my management role as a credit manager, and nearly 20 years later I left as a credit manager. I discovered why that happened, and I'll share that with you along the way as well. So that is that, and I suppose at the end of it, you I hope you'll have an overall understanding of credit and the credit function and where it fits into the overall business. You'll have a control on yourselves as individuals. You'll have, in terms of your team, you get the best out of them, and that you become that manager that they look at in years to come and so, God, that was great, I really loved working for her, or I really loved working for him. They were super and they got the best out of me. And that's really what I would love for you to achieve, and you get the job done and all the rest. You see, in any business situation, yes, there's the job and the results and the processes. That's one. There are the people and the individuals involved, and then there's the overall team dynamic. If, as a manager, you can't juggle those three things, then you're going to lose it. If you focus on the targets, you're going to lose the people. If you focus on the people, and you're there to be their friend or whatever the case may be, you're not there to be their friend. You're there to be the manager. You're there to be the, whatever. So if we focus too much on being friendly to the people and being as nice as we can, then maybe the function suffers, and maybe the team suffers, particularly if we're seen to have favorites or something of that nature. So that's really what for me the kernel of the course is, that we go through this process and emerge better as a result. That's really what I want to do. More dates, and I'll send these slides. You don't need to take notes of these slides. I'll be sending these to you after the session today. So the 18th of November, you'll have a first assignment on managing yourself. And on the 9th of December, your second assignment on managing the team. So they're the first two sections, managing yourself, managing the team. So that is that. Then, yeah, exactly the same as in the diploma. You'll get your notes before 5 o'clock on Monday, and I might even send them a bit earlier over the weekend, depending on the time available. You will definitely have them in your inbox by 5 o'clock on Monday, and you read through them, you go through them, you whatever, and then submit your test. Now, I do have all your emails correct now, and so you'll have them complete. And look, in the same way, guys, as before, if you have a week's holidays booked, you know, that's, you know, you can either submit your tests early, or you can just drop me a note and say, Dec, I'm off to Italy in November. I'll be gone for a week, or whatever the case may be. So, you know, I need an extension. That's fine, you know, but if you could let me know in advance, so I'm not, you know, emailing you and seeing where's this and where's that and all that kind of good stuff. So that's that. So yes, you know, I'm giving you the dates that you will get your notes. I'm saying you submit your short test within a week. If you're away and it's the following week, let me know in advance, and we're okay with that. The additional exercises, so when you go through the notes, there will be additional exercises and stuff for you to do. Again, they're only recommended. There's no marks in it or whatever. They're for your own benefit, and hopefully something that you can bring to the party as well. So that is the notes. The assignments, again, back to the diploma, you have 2 weeks to complete each assignment, and they'll test your understanding of the concepts. Paul told you about our project workshop, so we get together for an hour and a half or whatever on the 2nd of November. And this is just a kind of midterm. You'll all have your topics at this stage. You'll all be starting at this stage, and just to get together and have a chat among ourselves in terms of how to move to the next level. So it's a kind of a midterm review to make sure everybody's on track. And then you have until the 20th of December to submit your completed projects to Paul. So yeah, we've dealt with that, so there's no point in going through there. There's my mobile number and Paul's mobile number as well. So if you do need to contact us, you have our contact details there. And you can WhatsApp or whatever you like, that's fine as well. There's our email addresses. So again, if you want to talk to us, or you have queries or issues, or just even requests for random information, you know, so please feel free to reach out to us. We are always happy to help. In terms of marking, I just want to give you a breakdown of the marks. So in terms of the 100% that you need for the advanced diploma, you get 10% for each assignment. So that gives you a total of 20% for the 2 assignments. You get 2% for each short tests, and there's 10 of those. So that's another 20%. And then you get 60% for the assignment. So 20 for the short tests, 20 for the short assignments, and 60 for the major assignment. And because it's an advanced diploma, your pass mark is 50. Now, that should be very doable. And because you're getting sort of constant feedback every week in terms of your tests and assignments, you'll see how you're doing. So that is that. And obviously you have to get a pass and everything. That's the marking structure. You're probably familiar with that. The only movement is the pass mark moves from 40 in the diploma to 50 in the advanced diploma. Merits and distinctions are the same. So that is the structure of the course. Just check with you. Is that clear, understandable, or do you have any questions at this stage on the structure? I take silence as happiness, yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so just quickly now to go through the individual modules, just that I, you know, not to scare the living daylights out of you when you get the material. So I'm just going to give you the synopsis. So module 1 that you're going to get next week is about managing yourself. So so that's what it's all about. And we're looking at attitude, mindset, all the various stuff, focus. And those of you who did the collections module will know that I have said you get what you focus on 100% of the time. And we're really going to focus on that as well, because what we now need to make sure that we're focusing on the right thing. So that's what it's all about. So we look at, you know, what we're focusing on, self-belief, you know, like the reality is that we are our own worst enemies a lot of the time, and we can beat ourselves up better than anybody else can beat us up. And, you know, sometimes we're our own worst critic. And, you know, I suppose part of what I want to do in this module from a self management perspective is, you know, to instill this kind of self-belief. Look, of course you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Everybody is, I would say, you know, perfectly imperfect. So we all have, you know, different strengths, different weaknesses. Let's play to our strengths and let's minimize our weaknesses. I can't remember who it was. I do quote him somewhere along the way, who said that the perfect team, and this is something that I challenge team managers. The perfect team is a team where everybody gets to work on their individual strengths. Is that okay? And wait for this. And their weaknesses are made irrelevant by the strengths of others. So the fact that I can't do spreadsheets doesn't matter because Joe can. And Joe does the spreadsheets. The fact that I hate talking to customers is grand because, you know, Jane is a chatterbox. She loves chatting to people. So, and part of our role as managers is knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the individuals within our team, and then readjusting the world where I am now focusing on the things that you are good at, the things that you like doing, and the things that you do best, and the things that you hate doing, we'll get somebody else to do it. Yeah. And if you can, and the bigger the team, the better the opportunity you have to do this. And look, yes, at the end of the day, we all have some jobs that we like better than others, and there's some jobs we don't like at all. You know, you probably have to suck that up as well. But I think once we, you know, in terms of self-management, you know, taking action and doing it with confidence and believing in ourselves and knowing what we're at, there's some pretty good stuff in there that I hope you take on board and you find it beneficial. The second thing is about goal setting. So now, you know, let's not get hung up on this, you know, and a lot of people say, Jack, I've tried goal setting, it doesn't work. Yes, it does work. Now, sometimes it's better than others. The last thing you want to do is beat yourself up over goals. So to me, a goal is a direction, you know, so we set ourselves a direction. It's an end place where we want to be. And what we'll do is we'll go through a process with you to show you how to set goals. And, you know, for me, it's just great. And it just gives you something to do when you wake up in the morning. You know, that's really what a goal is. And look, if you find you've set a goal and it's not working, maybe the goal is wrong. You know, maybe you need to reassess the goal. And maybe you'll find, yeah, I know I said that was my goal and it's not really my goal. It's just what I thought other people might think that I want. So, you know, we have to be careful of that as well in terms of outside influences. So we look at how we set goals and then how we achieve them. So there's a process and there's a way to do it, and we're going to deal with that as well. Quadrant 2, we will talk about that. I don't know whether anybody's ever read. I do reference lots of other books because I've read a lot of books as well. Quadrant 2 relates to the 7 habits of highly successful people. What's first things first? What's his name? Stephen Covey. Very, very good book. And a lot of the books that I reference, I kind of give you a summary of the key points in it. So this will all make sense to you when you come. Time management as well. So yes, we have to manage our time. We have to be in control of time. And look, it's not going to be you know, from 9:10 to 9:12 we'll do this, and from 9:12 to 9:17 we'll do that, because the real world doesn't work like that. You cannot manage time in slots, because, and particularly in credit control, one call at 9:05 can throw the whole day into turmoil. So what we have to do is, you know, we have to manage chunks of time in terms of what we're doing in terms of our achievements. So time management is probably more about a compass in terms of a direction that we're going in, rather than a clock where we're looking at minutes. So we'd certainly look at time management, and certainly meetings in a large organization are probably the greatest drain on time management as well. So how do we manage our meetings effectively, and you know, what meetings do we choose to go to or not? Is part of it as well, to make sure that we have the time available. Because, you know, if we find ourselves working, and look, I'm an authority on this because I did it myself. If you find yourself working 12, 15 hours a day, what you will find is, after very few weeks, you will probably only get 6 hours work done in 15, because you are so wrecked and burnt out that it's now going to take you, and then it just becomes a kind of downward spiral. And I want to break you away from that. So manage time, get in control. That's what we're about as well. Confidence as well. You know, building your confidence. Of course, you're not perfect, although part of the stuff that I will go is you actually are perfect, but that's a different conversation. So how you talk to yourself. Dharma, I don't know whether you've heard of Dharma. There's lots of different explanations for Dharma. The one I'm using is from a guy called Deepak Chopra. He's a Indian. He's a medical doctor, and he's also you know, a clever guy he's written some good books and some terrible books. But Dharma is one of the concepts that I love. And just to explain the concept of Dharma to you, while we're here, the concept of Dharma, according to Deepak, is, are you ready for this? And I've told my kids this from the time they were 3 or 4. Here is the thing. Are you ready? You ready for this? Because everybody on the planet is unique, and because everybody is different, what that means is that there is something that you can do better than anybody else. And it may be in a combination of things. Are you with me? So take myself for example, and I'm off to Florida in a couple of weeks to speak at the World Credit Congress, and I've been invited to conferences around the world. So there are people out there who speak better than I do. There are people out there who know more about credit management than I do. There are people out there, whatever. But when you combine being available, being knowledgeable on credit management, being able to speak in public, and to do all these various things, when you combine all those, then suddenly you find me, because I'm the only one left. Yeah. And so if I sit down and compare myself to these great speakers, I wouldn't even come close. But you know what? All those great speakers know absolutely nothing about credit management. Excuse me. So what I've done is I've kind of created a niche for myself, if you know what I mean. And everybody has that niche. And as I say, I told my kids from the age of 3 that there is something that you can do better than anybody else. And here was my challenge as a parent, right? My challenge as a parent was to pay the bills, and their challenge as a kid was to find what that one thing was. And the sad thing about it is, most people, A, don't even know about it, and 2, spend absolutely no time doing it. And one thing that happened to me at a course I gave in UCD one Saturday morning, this guy came up to me and afterwards, and he said, Declan, he said, do you know what? And I said, what? He said, I'm 64 years of age. And I said, yeah. And he said, I became an accountant because my father wanted me to be an accountant. And I think I've wasted my life. Isn't that just the saddest conversation you could possibly have? And that probably sparked something in me, you know, that if I can help anybody along the way. So, you know, by knowing what it is that makes you unique, and knowing what your talents and strengths are and going for it, that's what builds your confidence. So I want to build up your confidence as well. And I have comparing yourselves to others. I'm sure you probably know at this stage, you never compare yourself to others because we are all different. We've all different roads. We've all different ways of going on. So comparing yourself to others is one way of kicking your confidence to hell. I heard a great line. I thought it was great. What did they say? They said, and it was advice for young girls. And the advice was, you will never look like the girl in the magazine. And I really, because the girl in the magazine doesn't look like the girl in the magazine. You know, so we're presented with these pictures of perfection. And of course, we all know it isn't. So that's confidence. Individuals. So when we get down now, so now we're in charge of ourselves. Now it's about people. So when we're managing people, you know, we give them defined roles, we understand their strengths and weaknesses, and I'm going to give you a totally different definition of what a strength and a weakness is. How we motivate them, how praise, when you're a manager, praise is one of the basic essentials. If people perform at a level of excellence, you have to praise them for doing it, because you know, and praise is not, you know, you put them on a pedestal, because everybody's different. Everybody has different triggers, and some people would die if you put them up on a pedestal, you know. So it's about knowing the people and knowing what makes them tick and knowing what they appreciate. That's what's going to make you an absolutely brilliant manager. So when I say praise them, you might praise them privately, you might reward them at a team meeting, you might, you know, although I don't think any of you, I don't think are any of you come to the Credit Team Awards where you get up on stage and you're lauded. You know, some people just die and they don't want to do that. From a manager's perspective, praise is how we determine future behavior. Mentoring, you know, so not doing the job for them, that's their job, that's why they're paid. You know, pointing out and all that sort of stuff. Objectives and helping them. So that's when we're talking about individuals. When we're talking about teams, we need to understand the different components within the teams. We need to know what we need to have to make it work. There is some academic, this is probably the most academic kind of module. Most of it is conversational, most of it's kind of hopefully an interesting read. This, I get into the theory of management and that sort of stuff. I hope you find it helpful and all the rest in terms of how to create a high performance team, and looking at that. In terms of the function, again, you're probably not surprised. So yeah, managers hate surprises, and it's our job to make sure there are no surprises. So we flag things in advance and make sure we have them under control. What we need to be looking at on a regular basis. So rather than waiting for the fire brigade to be called, you know, we can see the warning signs before. That's really what I'm talking about here. Yes, it's all about getting the money on the due date, how we sort of set ourselves up to do that. Allocating payments as they come in, vital. Billing accuracy, getting our invoices right, getting our prices right, our quantities right, all that good stuff. That's essential from a business perspective, because if we're sending out rubbish invoices, then we're giving excuses to our customers not to pay. When we have disputes, how do we set up a system? And to me, you know, queries, yes, queries have to be fixed. That's a given. Queries have to be fixed, and then they have to be solved. Right, because it's no good somebody coming to you and saying, oh look, I have an invoice going back to July and I was overcharged, you know, by a tenner, and you go back to July and you find the invoice and you fix it. The problem is that if they were overcharged in July and you have an invoice where they're overcharged for a tenner and you do the credit note, chances are, all of the things being equal, because you're only finding out about this now, they have probably not only been charged a tenner too much in July, they were probably charged in August and September. You know, so just fixing that one problem isn't enough. We have to say, well, hold on, what about between then and now? Is it right or wrong? Oh, it's wrong. Well, we need to fix that too. And then from today onwards, you know, let's make sure that we get it right going forward. So there's sort of 3 time frames that we need to get right in terms of dealing with disputes. So not only do we fix them, we solve them, and then we go forward and, you know, and make different mistakes next week. As long as you don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Credit note analysis, so analyzing why we're issuing credit notes. What is going down? Is it a system issue? Is it a process issue? Is it a communications issue? You know, what is the cause of these credit notes, these disputes, these queries? And we come about how to eliminate them, because that's really what I'm looking at as well. Then we look at the concept of exposure. So exposure is that if a customer goes bang, how much can they catch you for? That's really what exposure to me is all about. And it's all very well looking at your ledger month after month after month. The reality is, when you look at your ledger at each month end, you're looking at the best possible balance. You know, the worst possible balance is the day before the month end, before the payment went in. So if you're looking at a 20 grand balance on the customer's account every month for the last 12 months, the reality is that on the second last day of the month before they paid, they owed you 40,000. Yeah. So how much? Yeah. So there's been 20 grand on the ledger for the last 10 months. Yeah. Okay. And if the payment didn't come in on the last day of the month and the company went into liquidation, they could catch me for 40. And knowing that is my exposure, then what can I do to mitigate that exposure? So we'll certainly have a look at that within the function as well. Preempting problems, you know, rather than reacting to problems all the time, we need to be able to take time to sit back and see what problems are coming down the track at us. And then in terms of, you know, staff, individuals, motivation, let's set our targets. This is what we're going to do. And if those targets are realistic, if they're too difficult, people will switch off. If they're too easy, people will switch off. So they have to be challenging, they have to be achievable, they have to be stretching, and then we set our targets and then we work together as a unit to achieve it. So that's in terms of the function. And management reporting, you know, and it's about keeping it simple. Keeping it simple in terms of, you know, it's a single number, it's a picture on a page. So the more senior the management you're reporting to, the more simple your reports have to be. So if you're reporting to an accountant, you can have lots of numbers, because accountants love lots of numbers. If you're reporting to the board of directors, then colouredy pictures that you would show to a 5-year-old is about the level that you're at, because that's about their level of understanding. So, you know, in terms of as you get higher up the ladder, the more simple you have to keep it, and finding a key number. And each business has their own key number. I will, you know, explore possibilities with you. You know, the one thing that I will warn you at this stage is that make sure that your key number is a positive number. Because if your key number is overdue debt, then what are you doing, guys? You're focusing on the money you didn't collect. You're telling them what you didn't do. So your key number must be something positive. You know, so that is that. Oh yeah, and I'd also stick a wish list into my management reporting as well, because they're the guys that hold the budget and you know, can make things happen. So ask and you shall receive, somebody said. And then looking at internal reporting, what do I look at? What do I look at on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis? You know, that would give me an indication of what's coming down the line. And they're the kind of reports that I look at as well. And I'll be sharing these with you, and you can have them. I've no copyright signs. That is that. Boundaries, looking at all the other departments, you know, so this is what we do, this is what you do. And anywhere that they touch, we have to make sure that we have a clear process, timing, time frame, that everybody understands what's going on, and it's done correctly. And there is a module there on managing change, because, you know, change is, people say, the only constant in business. It's going to keep changing. And if commentators are, and to go by, you know, we're going to see more change, particularly in the area of AI, in the next 6 months than we've seen in the last 60 years. It's literally at that level now where it's about to explode. So we have to stay on top of things, know what's going on, and be able to manage change, because change can make people nervous. They like the status quo. They like it comfortable and predictable. And if we are managers that want to improve things, we have to know what we're dealing with here and make people comfortable in terms of bringing about change, explaining change, and then implementing it, and then putting the support mechanisms in place that if people do make mistakes, that we're not killing them over it. So that is that. And then finally, high risk accounts, looking at how we can get security, how we can get insurance, how we can review financials, and we've done that in risk, but we'll take it to a new level now in terms of what we're going to look out for within individual customers. And again, this is about predicting the future and all that kind of stuff as well. And bad debt provisions, to me, as a manager, was something that I managed as tightly as the ledger itself, because provisions, believe it or not, at a management level, is about your job security. So that's it. That's the 6 modules, or the 10 modules that you're going to get over the next number of weeks. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll send you those slides. I'll send you a copy of the recording and anything else that you want. So talk to me now before you head off into the, well, it's not sunny here, but all into the weekend. Beverly, we'll start with you first. Are you looking forward to it? Are you dreading it?
I have to say I wish I'd started it earlier. Because after I had that knowledge of doing the diploma, I thought it'd be nice just to go straight in to do the advance. But I suppose this is the closest that I'm going to get.
And you can't start any earlier.
I know that. I am looking forward to it. I do think it is going to be quite daunting. I have a subject in mind for my 6,000 thesis.
Brilliant.
I have spoke to a couple of the managers and work regarding it. I'm just not sure. I think it might be too open where they think different, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and Paul would be great help there, because he's been through the mill and worked with people and knows what works and doesn't work. So he might even tweak it for you just to sharpen it up a bit, So yeah,
due to the fact that the industry that I'm in, Declan, which you know quite well, is so diverse in the fact that we're worldwide. And I want the Pacific to do mine for the USA. So and see how we can structure that down more completely. But yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting and a lot of hard work in the
next few months. It's well worth as well. Yeah, we move across. Laurence, is that the right pronunciation, or Laurence?
Yes, it is. That's my name, Lawrence.
Laurence, yeah, you're very welcome. Good to see you.
I'm French. I'm following you from France.
Very good. Yes, you're welcome.
And yeah, the program sounds very interesting. It's very pointing out on the management, and this is what I'm looking for.
And are you currently working in credit management, or have you a team, or what's the?
So I've been working 14 years as a credit. I was doing everything, but I was not a credit credit manager, and this is what I would like to do. So
Brilliant.
I need a bit of self-confidence and support to get on to the next job.
Yeah, and that is, yes, it is about confidence and all that stuff. And I must say, and hopefully it will come across in the notes, for me, making the transition from a credit controller to being a credit manager was one of the most difficult things I have ever done. And I'll tell you why, and it took me a couple of years. And when I think back, my face goes red and I cringe, because I was probably the worst manager you could possibly have. And when I look back at some of the things I did, and that's when I was working 15, 16 hours a day, I was working 7 days a week. I was so stressed out. I thought I was going to die. So, and then when I learned the secrets of management, that what's really, really hard is to know that as a manager, it is my job to get things done. It is not my job to do it. And as simple as that sounds, when you're there in it, you tend to go running around putting out fires and sort of stuff. And the reality was I was probably the one causing most of the fires, now I was clever enough to know I was doing things wrong, step back, and and what you learn in the course is a result of my journey in terms of making so many mistakes, and then it put me in a position where I could manage a team properly. So that's that. No, you're very welcome, and look forward to working with you and communicating with you as well. Virginie as well, how are you? No, you're on mute. Hit unmute yourself there. Yeah.
Well, so hello. Yeah, so for me now, I'm a bit anxious about the project and what I'm going to pick, because it's a bit tricky for me to find the actual thing that's relevant to my, that's matching my current role, because I just feel it's a bit tricky and I'm kind of more limited. So I'm kind of thinking wider, but like that's
Yeah.
a little.
And rather than thinking about the current role, why not think about the future role? Then, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the right way to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? So if you gave me an extra 20 grand a year and maybe a manager, this is what we could do. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, that thank you very much. Yeah, that's an idea. Yeah, that's very good. But yeah, I'm very happy with what you because that's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking to learn more about that. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. No, and then let's stay in touch with it. And finally, Catherine, then yourself.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that Catherine. My apologies. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Catherine there. Catherine.
The coursework is fine. I am probably going to find, and I use the word difficulty loosely. I do have an idea. It's just that it probably needs to be pared back,
Yeah.
in terms of that it's too broad at the moment. So that'll take a bit of work. But other than that, I'm happy enough with everything. I
Okay.
say that now until I'm bald and in meltdown mode in about 2 months, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, don't do that. And I use that word don't because that was in the collections module as well. No, talk to us. And if at any time you're feeling overwhelmed, talk to us. That's what it's all about. We are here to help, and we will show you a way through. And in terms of flexibility, because we know the real world can catch up with all of us. So if it does, we've been running this course now. Well, this is a kind of new format over the last few years, but the advanced diploma has been running now for nearly 20 years. So look, it's every September, it's every February. So, and what's the worst that can happen? So if something does happen, you can catch up,
Yeah.
So like, please, in terms, the whole point about this is to reduce the stress levels and the pressure levels and to put you in control. So that's really what it's all about. The one thing that I will warn all of you, and particularly module 1, there's a section in it where I quote, some other sources. Just take it with a grain of salt and go at it with an open mind, because some of this you might go, here, this is pure crazy. And if you think it's crazy, it's crazy. Just do it with an open mind, see where it goes, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it and stay in touch with us. That's really what we want to do. So that is us. So what I'll do now is I'll actually stop recording.